Hi guys, so I know you hear this all the time, but I'm really excited to share this with you. This is going to be a video about the Caribbean blue calcite crystal. And I'm making this video because there is hardly any information about it. All there is written word on a couple of websites. To my knowledge, I can't find any videos about it. So I've worked with it recently for about just over a month, and I want to make this video to talk through what it is, where it comes from, what it does, and then ultimately through doing that we can look at what its properties might be. And if you are interested in working with some, buying some, I do have a little bit for sale. I will show that in a separate group, a separate video in my Facebook group. But yeah, this is a video about Caribbean blue calcite. And I'm going to do the rest of the videos in slides, just because I have tried to make this video about 20 times and my children keep screaming or running in. So this is an image of some Caribbean blue calcite. It's only ever been on the market since 2019. That's when it was discovered and mined in the one and only mine so far on the Afghanistan-Pakistan border. So let's have a look at the Aragonite part. The Aragonite part of Caribbean blue calcite is that white and brown bit that you see there. You can tell the difference because calcite obviously always grows in chunks or cubes, blocks, and the Aragonite grows, it has little spikes, so you can see the inner parts of some of these towers have little spikes. So Aragonite is also comes in a range of colours, and it's known for stabilising, balancing and focus mostly. Okay, so together they are polymorphous to each other. So both calcite and aragonite both contain the same chemical compositions, but they differ in their crystal structure and their crystal lattice system. And anyone who's ever taken any of my workshops know that I really like to talk about crystal lattice systems. They're really important in helping us understand crystals and minerals. Okay, so the calcite is trigonal and the aragonite is orthorhombic. So, taking it back to just calcite in general, all calcite is CaCO3, calcium carbonate. So what else in the world is calcium carbonate? Rennies is calcium carbonate, essentially. I think more than 80% of it is just pure calcium carbonate, Rennies. We take Rennies for acid reflux, for heartburn, indigestion. So anything that is causing too much heat, too much burning, so you have like spicy, hot burning, heartburn, acid reflux in your throat. So basically, these are all things that need to be neutralized, okay? In many different Eastern medicine traditions, ancient Eastern medicine, in Ayurveda and Chinese medicine, they say when these types of things happen, they say there's too much yang, too much yang, fire in the blood. Calcium carbonate can fix this by making our bodies more alkaline. Personally, when I had really bad stomach problems, I think it was something like from 2009 to 2017, doctors could not figure out what it was. I had tons and tons of tests, horrible tests. I had the camera down my throat and all sorts. No one has ever diagnosed that, and it's gone now, but the only thing that I managed to keep that at bay with, or to keep it, less painful, was with orange calcite. I used to put orange calcite in to make gem waters and gem elixirs, and I used to tape pieces all over my abdomen, and that was the only thing that really gave me any relief. So yeah, calcite crystal can draw out heat. It neutralizes, it calms, it settles excess heat, acid, fire in the blood, in the gut, on the body. So for example, you could place calcite over a piece of over an area of the body where you need to draw out heat. So for example, if there was inflammation of a muscle joint, or something's broken and it gets really hot to touch, you can use calcite to place over that area and draw out of the heat. But what that actually means is, because it's drawing out of the heat, it means that it can also store it. So calcite can draw out and store heat, so you can use it on the flip side as well. So if you wanted to use calcite to aid a aching joint or something where you need to bring heat back into the body, you could put maybe like a palm stone over the area of the body and then heat it up with a heat lamp, and you would be bringing that in. That means is that calcite can pretty much store and reflect light, a bit like a plant. Think of like photosynthesis. It's a mineral that can absorb and store light and also send that light back out, or that heat back out. Another type of calcium carbonate is limestone. So if you think about how limestone holds onto heat and cools down caves, okay, those spiky like structures that you see hanging from cave ceilings, that's limestone. And limestone takes the heat out of the Earth's environment and keeps those caves cool. Coming back to aragonite and calcite, our seas and our oceans they're either calcite or aragonite, and they flip between. So the last time that we had a calcite sea was over 40 million years ago, and today we have aragonite seas, and this happens and changes and flips based on our tectonic plate activity. Coral beds are literally they literally produce aragonite. They give birth to it. Many shells and skeletons of many marine organisms are made from calcite or aragonite. Calcite really resonates with the sea, the ocean, the water. So that's what it is as a mineral, okay? So let's talk about where it comes from. So as I said before, it's basically from Pakistan. But there are a few places, if you see it for sale online, it will say that it's from Afghanistan. So when I actually bought mine from a guy who mined it and has shaped these himself, I asked him about it. Is there a mine in Afghanistan? And what I can assume is, because he is from Peshawar, that these mines of Caribbean blue calcite area where the Durand line is. This is historically, for the past 150 years, been an area of conflict. So without getting into a really big history lesson, in brief, the points are: this line or border or segregation area was formed by the British Empire, and it was made out of fear that the West, fear from the West, that Russia was going to take over and invade India and that they would lose hold over it country. And there were treaties, and there's lots of myths and hearsay that this was a verbal agreement, and the Afghanistan did not understand English, and there was a lot of deception around the agreement to put in this border. And when later on, when Pakistan was then declared its own country against Afghanistan's wishes, it's probably the equivalent of the whole of the UK, or a lot of it, maybe even more, just a lot of land. So it would be like all of a sudden another country, so Spain, decided that all of our coastal seaside towns in England would then be given to France, and we had no say in it. So they were really pissed, basically. And they assumed that when the British Empire fell, that they would be given back that land. They never were, hence all the current conflict. So the point is, the main issues here are that this crystal has risen from the earth in an area where there's been violence and anger and hate and a lot of physical shooting and God knows what else, okay? And obviously all of this has come from fear, there's deception, there's anger, there's a lot of not feeling heard, and there's a lot of injustice. And to bring it back, I feel like this Caribbean blue calcite has risen to the surface, particularly last year and this year, to help us all with these issues. It's got a lot to do with releasing anger and grudges and conflict inside the earth, and the fact that Mother Earth has decided to push this to the surface at this particular time. And when I was first thinking about this, I was thinking, oh, you know, it should really stay there. I mean, it's risen in that particular area of the world where there's conflict, and it needs to be calmed. And it's just getting mined and shipped out all over the world, so that's a bit bad. Maybe it should stay there where it was found and where it should be. But when I mentioned this to my fiance, and I was like, oh, you know, maybe it should stay there, we should stop shipping it out, maybe it needs to be there to do its work. The crystal is there to do its work on that land and dissipate all of that anger. But what he said to me and reminded me was that to believe that would be to believe that the earth does not have a consciousness of its own, and that the earth didn't know what would happen, basically saying that that was probably its plan the whole time, that this needs to be spread around the whole globe, and that this particular conflict and everything else is a global issue as well, parallel to that particular part of the land. So there's a lot of similarities between what went on there, between Afghanistan and the British Empire, with its deception and its politics, and what is going on now in the West with COVID, and what we're being told and what we're being lied to about, and us feeling that it's very unjust. Tons of us feeling lots of anger about the situation, wanting our rights back, just as Afghanistan wants its land back. But it's also, as a crystal, it's a lot about calm, and it's a lot about calm strength. So let's talk about my own experiences. As I said before, I've had a piece for about 5-6 weeks that I've worked with. When you hold a piece of Caribbean blue calcite, it is literally like total calm, like a big shum, like just calm. It's not a zen calm though. It's not like Mangano calcite. I feel is like a complete zen calm. It makes me feel light and floaty and fluffy and soft. When you hold the Caribbean blue calcite, it's like with the Mangano, it's like you can feel stress leave the body. I always recommend Mangano calcite for people with anxiety, and when I hold it or use it, I can feel tension release. It's like a process. With the Caribbean blue calcite, there's no process. It's like 0 to 100. It's just really, it works straight away, and it doesn't make you feel like that lovely floaty calm. You are calm, but you are also strong, like within your power calm. Like, I will not rise to it. I'm not going to go to sleep, that kind of calm, like I'm so calm I'm going to go to sleep, but I'm aware, and it's got a lot to do with clarity as well. The handful, couple, I think maybe 3 the most, internet references I've seen try to write up properties about Caribbean blue calcite say that it's for the crown and the third eye, where I don't necessarily feel like it's there to open us up to speak to spirits so much. I definitely think it's better at helping us hear our own higher selves and helping us draw on that wisdom, that ancient wisdom that is actually within ourselves. Definitely feel more clarity and more focus straight away when I have a piece with me. The crystal that usually does that the most for me is fluorite, but fluorite just helps me order my thoughts and laser focus my thought process and helps me unmuddle my thoughts, whereas with the Caribbean blue calcite, it helps me channel the thoughts as well, and it's also there, it feels like support. So I could get my head around something with fluorite crystal and make my mind up and say, okay, this is the order, okay, this is, you know. But with the Caribbean blue calcite, it's also there like an ancestor supporting you, like to not let those mind monkeys creep in with doubt that you're wrong or that you shouldn't be doing this right now. The best way I can describe it is like a strong calm. So some other people have also written up that they feel like it helps individuals find and enhance their own unique psychic abilities. I feel like it definitely helps you become more clear on your own views and finding your own voice more than it's going to activate Claire's. Let's not forget that it's mixed with Aragonite, and particularly Aragonite Sputniks are known for helping you channel through decisions and solve problems. So yeah, it's really, really special. Before this, I only have like 2 pieces of tumbled blue calcite, and I can say, if you feel like, oh, I've already got blue calcite, this is completely next level, completely different, almost doesn't even feel like the same crystal. I wouldn't even say it's like blue calcite on crack. It's just got a completely different feel to it. So to summarise some of my thoughts on its properties, it's here to help us see through deception. So like the lies and deception that, you know, I'm not on a side. There was lots of deception and misunderstandings around the border in Afghanistan and Pakistan. There's a lot of deception going on around now in the world. I don't even have to reference it. Everyone knows what I'm going on about. But yeah, this can help you. Caribbean blue calcite help you through deception at any time in life. And I'm not saying you have to get it now because of everything that's going on. But if you ever are in a situation in life where you're not sure of someone's motives, or you just have a gut feeling that something's not right or that something's working against you, I would definitely say that having some Caribbean blue calcite can help you intuitively locate and understand where there might be deception, who it's coming from, where it's coming from. It's going to allow you to remain calm and strong and express your views and your power without anger. You know, it's of the light, it wants the best. It's why it came up in the earth where it did, it's why it was found where it was. So learning to speak your mind without aggression. If you're someone who has an issue with that, this is going to be a perfect crystal for you to work with. So it's allowing you to wash away and move on and transform, just like the water element, the ocean that it's so akin to. I know most crystals, you know, people that talk about crystal properties will say this about pretty much all crystals, but it really will help you transform old mindsets. So thinking about those grudges that those countries hold against each other from 150 years ago, it's going to help programming, you know, deprogram what's been taught to you before. So right now, lots of people are angry at the quote-unquote conspiracy theorists because they can't get their head around it, because it doesn't match their programming. It's just too new to them. But this is a crystal that can help break down what you thought was right, so you can move on, particularly when it comes to holding grudges. That's what I feel. So it's also going to be really good for any family quarrels, qualms, ongoing arguments in relationships in general. And it really, really does give you that beautiful, serene feeling of just life's a beach when you hold it. Physically, if you're a healer, or if you make any lotions, potions, waters, elixirs, medicines, poultices, pastes, whatever, if you just use crystals in physical healing, it's great for neutralizing acidity and heat. It's going to bring in alkaline for you. It's going to steer you away from making fear-based decisions, because it gives you that clarity, it gives you that help to express yourself and to stay calm, but stay strong and calm at the same time. It's going to allow you to download wisdom from your higher self with ease and gain clarity around any situation. So there are my thoughts. That's what it is, that's where it's from, that's what it does, this is probably what it's here to do, this is what it can do. These are just my personal views, okay? But I will say that if there's no other mines found, and there hasn't been so far, this is a mineral that is possibly going to be mined to extinction very soon. So if you're interested in getting some, I would get some now. I mean, they're not the cheapest, but if they get mined to extinction, they're only going to get more expensive. So I do have a few pieces for sale. And I've also got some pistachio calcite and some mangano calcite, and I will talk to you about those another time. So I hope you enjoyed this, learned something, especially if you've been trying to Google around to see what this crystal does. So thank you so much for spending this time with me, especially if you've listened to this all the way to the end. I appreciate you, and I'm sending you crystal blessings. Namaste.